Hi, welcome back to my channel. I'm Shelly, and today I am going to be going through all of my pocket paperbacks, all of my small paperback books. I've been doing these shelf tours for, I don't know, a couple of weeks now. I've been reorganizing and taking you along on that journey, and it's been really, really wonderful, partly because it's helping me grow in my gratitude for my own collection, my own book collection, and inevitably through this process, it's helped me find books that I want to pick up. So again, today I am going through a very messy section in my library, which is these sort of small, compact pocket paperbacks. And we're gonna just see what's here. Part of it is like, this is very much a mixed collection, my collection and my husband's collection. I feel like my hair is like, it's all right, we're just, it's a mixed collection. My husband has a lot of books sitting on this shelf, and I just feel like it's time, you know? If you're new to my channel, then hi, welcome. Again, I'm Shelly, and I really love books and reading, and this is very emblematic of my channel. I'm showing you books that I own and trying to reorganize them. I also have my master's in library and information science, and I think one of my subscribers said that I was a renegade librarian. A librarian gone rogue, because I tend to organize my collection by category, like by theme, by subgenre. So I don't know what categories will emerge from this pocket paperback collection, but maybe I will figure that out along the way. That's typically what happens. And so yeah, let's just oh, but if you're new, I would encourage you, and this is your thing, you're vibing with my channel, I would encourage you to subscribe, stick around. I'm just gonna fix my top. I'm all a mess today. And let's go ahead and get into the meat of this video. Right on the very top, this is not a little paperback, this is a miniature hardcover of Jeffrey Eugenides' The Virgin Suicides. Actually, more than any other collection, this whole group of books is very much mixed with read and unread. So there are a lot of books I have read, and I can tell you about them as we go. So this is Jeffrey Eugenides, as I mentioned, The Virgin Suicides. I really love this book. I love this book and the book he wrote on it's called Middlesex. Both are really, really good, and I enjoyed them both. But I love this version. This was a gift from my husband, this little miniature hardback book. They're so cute. It was a set that Picador Modern Classics did, and I have this one. And I've seen the other books. I've seen the other versions of the other titles and authors that they've published in this edition, and they're cute, but I'm glad I have this one, you know? It's a very special little book to me. Harper Lee's To Kill a Mockingbird. I actually don't love this version. Maybe this is a good time to declutter. I have this because I didn't want to not have To Kill a Mockingbird in my collection, but I actually really dislike. I didn't even read this version of it, and I don't like this copy. So maybe I'll declutter it and keep my eyes peeled for a better version, a better edition of this book, because I do love this book. It's so good. Such a good book. A book that I truly have very mixed feelings about, but I can't seem to just declutter it because of my experience with the book, the sort of back and forth nature I have with it, like the complicated relationship that I have with the book, and it is Gone with the Wind by Margaret Mitchell. I wanted to say by Scarlett O'Hara, but no, that's the main character. This is a Pulitzer Prize, you know, everyone knows about Gone with the Wind, but in case you don't, it's a Pulitzer Prize winning book, set in the South, written by a Southerner, so it's I think it really exemplifies the relationship that a Southern person has with the South and the complicated nature of that. No patterns are emerging with these three books thus far. I have this classic. This is the Delta of Venus. This is by Anisinan. This is truly emblematic of my love for both classic literature and vintage paperbacks. This is very much the famous edition. I love that it's a matte. You know, who knows if it was intended. It looks like it was printed to be a matte cover. But I do like this matte, non-shiny finish. I have not read this yet, but I do quite like this vintage paperback Bantam books. I just really like it, you know? It's like, there's just something about it that I quite enjoy. A book that has seen better days, but that I love, and I did read this copy, but I really need to buy a better copy of it. If I see a better copy that I love, I will definitely snag it at like a secondhand bookstore, and if it's for a good price. But anyways, this is A Tree Grows in Brooklyn by Betty Smith. Probably one of my favorite books of all time. It's so funny. Like, some of my favorite books of all time are in this kind of version, you know, these small paperbacks. I love this book. I love this book. It's a coming of age story of a young girl living in Brooklyn, New York, and it's very much like the setting is alive. I think that Betty Smith was a lovely historian of her time. She was very observant. There were scenes that just stick out in my mind. Boy, this family had a really hard life. I think it's not Smith. I can't remember the protagonist's first name, but it's, you know, her growing up in this incredibly poor town, poor part of Brooklyn. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. I love it. I love it so much. I love it so much. One of my husband's books, this is Burning Chrome. Burning Chrome by William Gibson. Never wanted to pick it up. William Gibson's dark visions of computer cowboys, bio-enhanced soldiers of fortune, and high-tech lowlives have won unprecedented praise. Yeah, none of those words appeal to me. So the piles that are forming are books that are my books that are unread, and my books that I have read. So we'll see how those piles go. Joseph Conrad's The Heart of Darkness. This is one of those books that I read. This version, I think it might have been this version, I don't remember, but I read this in college and I have good fond memories of it. But I remember like the big takeaway, you know, the big takeaway, but I don't remember much particularly about this specific, like the details of this book. You know, I just remember the main message I was supposed to take from it. But anyways, yeah, I have, you know, Conrad's The Heart of Darkness. Strangely, I don't ever want to reread it, but I can't let it go. Flowers for Algernon by Daniel Keyes. I know the twist in this book, and I don't really want to read it. Maybe this is going to go in my unhaul pile. I know it's supposed to be a good book. There's just something about, I don't know. I've had it on my shelves for a really long time and I don't want to read it. May Sarton. This is The House by the Sea. This might have been from Gina. I don't remember. She was, May Sarton, a writer, a wonderful writer in her time that wrote fiction and nonfiction. But her nonfiction is what stands the test of time. I hear way more people talk about her nonfiction rather than her fiction books. Another TED book. This is another husband book, William Gibson's Mona Lisa Overdrive. Another one that I have no reason, I have no desire to pick this up, but you know, oh well, here it goes. I grabbed this book from a little free library in my parents' town, and it is Richard Flanagan's The Narrow Road to the Deep North. It's supposed to have won the Booker, and I don't know anything about it. I hear someone crying. I have to go. I'll be back. My older son is turning into being a trickster because he was fake crying. Okay, so this book, in the despair of the Japanese POW camp on the Burma Death Railway, Surgeon Dorijo Evans is haunted by his love affair with his uncle's young wife 2 years earlier. Oh my goodness. Scandalous! Struggling to save the men under his command from starvation, from cholera, from beatings, he receives a letter that will change his life forever. This is a story about about the many forms of love and death, of war and truth, as one man comes to age, prospers only to discover all that he has lost. Okay, so this is how it starts. Why at the beginning of things is there always light? Dorijo Evans's earliest moments were of sun flooding a church hall in which he sat with his mother and grandmother, a wooden church hall, blinding light, and him toddling back and forth in and out of its transcendent welcome into the arms of women, women who loved him like entering the sea and returning to the beach over and over. A fascinating start. Again, I saw this is when I was really like interested in Booker books. I'm still interested in Booker books. This won the Booker in 2014, and yeah, I had picked it up. I don't know, an intriguing start. That's what I'll say about it. I picked up this 49-cent Fantastic Four little comic book. I feel I really love the vintage cover, and I feel obliged to keep it because it brings me joy. So I think I will do just that. There's something about this that really kind of gets me. I quite like it. White Oleander by Janet Finch. I have heard great things about this book, and I do want to pick it up soon. So this is, I remember reading the beginning of it on camera, and I thought it was great. So everywhere hailed as a novel of rare beauty and power, White Oleander tells the story, the unforgettable story of Ingrid, a brilliant poet imprisoned for murder, and her daughter Astrid, whose odyssey through a series of foster homes, each its own universe with its own laws and its own dangers, its own hard lessons to be learned, becomes a redeeming and surprising journey of self-discovery. Okay, that sounds really good. This is dangerous because I'm really at the precipice of changing over like what I'm reading. I'm about to finish the book that I'm reading, and I'm like, maybe this will be in my next read. I'm toying around with a couple of ideas. Idols of the King by Tennyson, another book that I just love. I love this cover. I love it so much. It's so cool. It's so pretty. In the back is this just hot pink that is, oh, I love it. I love this color. So, you know, these little vintage paperbacks really get me going. I have a really deep love for them. Let's see, when was this published? 1965. I think they're precious. A book I've read, Annie Dillard's Pilgrim at Tinker Creek. Love it, love it, love it, love it. You couldn't pry this from my cold dead hands. I loved it so much. I don't own a ton of Dude Bro Lit, but I own some. John Steinbeck's Of Mice and Men. I haven't read it. I know people say it's great and it's so slim. I haven't read it. Shorty September is coming up, so maybe I'll pick it up then. I also own George Orwell's 1984, probably because I feel sort of obliged as a reader to own something by Orwell. So I have 1984. Ken Casey's One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. I don't know. Ooh, someone wrote a note on this. I don't know what it says, but you can see. I love little things like this, little notes that people leave. Published in 1962. This has, you know, of course, the famous movie cover, you know, on it. Yeah, I like that. I don't know. These books are like pure joy for me. Ooh, maybe you all can help me out with this. This is my husband's, I believe. I thought this was another one of his. I thought this was another one of his, like, you know, classic sci-fi books, but no, this is about mythology, which I love. I love Greek and Roman mythology. I read mostly Greek. I really need to get a handle on my Roman mythology, but this is Edith Hamilton's mythology. And I was just looking at this, and in the table of contents, there is, let's think, interesting. So this has Hercules, like the story of Hercules, the story of Clytemnestra, Oedipus, and the Sphinx. So I wonder if these are her translations and retellings. I don't know. Well, I have to look up more about it, but the heart of it seems to be retellings of famous Greek and Roman myths. So this is awesome. She was a famous classicist, which is really cool. Like, really cool. All right, I'm gonna set that. I mean, technically it's my husband's, but now I want to read it. More versions of books that I quite like, but I probably can get rid of one. This is Mark Twain's The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. If I do read it, I would honestly probably read it on my Kindle, so I'm gonna keep this vintage 45-cent, this vintage copy. I really like it. I think it's very cute. This is my husband's version of Animal Farm, George Orwell's Animal Farm. I also have Charles Dickens' Tale of Two Cities and Fyodor Dostoevsky's The Idiot. Both of these are unread for me. The Instance of the Finger Post, which is, of course, a Steve Donahue recommendation, so I snagged this version. This is by Ian Pearce, and it's about a murder mystery, and it's told... There's like 4 perspectives, and you have to pay close attention because those accounts do not line up. So you have to figure out who's lying. A book I read in college, not this version, it's Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. It's been a really long time. I am really due for a reread. But as you can probably tell, I am a sucker for these like vintage pocket paperbacks. This is a Signet classic, and I don't know, I really like them. They make me happy. A version of a book that I want to read, but again, I feel like I'll probably read this on my Kindle, and that's Shogun by James Clavell. But it's cool to have this book of a thing. I really quite like the spine of it, these like big blocky bold letters. That's hard to miss, and I never forget that I own Shogun. Another book for which I have 2 versions of, this is The Scarlet Letter by Nathaniel Hawthorne. I keep on trying to read this. And I never get very far. I have a post-it on it. I think I bought this at like a used bookstore or a Goodwill. I probably got it at a Goodwill. I think I'm gonna actually keep the Penguin edition that I own. I am going to let this one go, even though it is truly adorable. It is this like red hardback with gold edges, very cute. But since I don't have really a relationship with this book, and if I do have one, it's a tumultuous one, I'm gonna actually let this version go. I have one of these journals that is like a 5-year memory book, so you're supposed to write down a memory a day for 5 years, and you can kind of see what you wrote previously. I've never used this, but you know, it's okay. Maybe one day I will feel the need to use it. Okay, another one is another sort of collection of books. These are definitely my husband's, and these are very short introductions. They're pretty awesome. I've used them for different things. So we have modernism, literary theory, art theory, postmodernism, and postculturalism. I'm pretty sure the literary theory one I actually read in college, and it might be, that one might be mine, the literary theory one, but my husband has these. And then more vintage looking books. King Lear by Shakespeare. I've not read this. Oh, I love this cover. This is great. Come on. Fathers and Sons by Turgenev. Ivan Turgenev. A Somerset Maugham book. This is Cakes and Ale. Love this. A Tolkien book. This is very cool. This needs to actually go with my Tolkien collection. And then, I don't know if I showed this, but this is like the hardcover. It's a small hardcover of Shakespeare's King Lear. And I should actually put this with a different collection. Actually, not these pocket paperbacks. And this Tolkien book needs to go with my Tolkien collection. So, and then finally I have Stendhal's The Red and the Black, which when I hauled it, I was like, it's this obscure book I've never heard of. And then I think a whole bunch of people came out and helped me understand that this is a classic, you know, one of those classics that you should know about. So, Stendhal's The Red and the Black, and again, unread. I have this copy of Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice. This is probably one of the most, like, I have the most copies of this particular book in my library. I have multiple copies of this, and I really like this vintage looking one. So I quite like this. And of course I've read it, so it's gonna go in my read pile. F. Scott Fitzgerald's The Great Gatsby. I've read this and love this. I think I have a couple of copies of this as well. I just love this. I love the this version of, like, the cover of this book and the run that they did. This is Reclaiming American Patriotism. This is not my book. Yeah, as much as I am a patriot in my heart, I would not own something like this. I wonder if I can give it away. But this is, no, I'm gonna honor my husband's collection. This is going in my husband's collection. Let me see what else is his so that I know. The Holy Man by Susan Trott. Definitely not mine. The Fall by Albert Camus. Not mine either. Count Zero by Neuromancer by William Gibson, and Pure Critique of Reason by Immanuel Kant. These are all my husband's books, so they're gonna go in my husband's pile. I don't know if I even got around to saying why I'm a renegade librarian. Here I am 20 minutes later telling you. I just need to be able to keep the books in my library, my mental library, if I can figure out a way to do that. And the best way for me has been to be able to, in my mind, the best way to do it is to do it by collection. So I have, you know, my historical fiction collection, my pocket paperbacks, and if I can organize them within sort of their stacks, you know, whether it be like a full unread stack of nonfiction and then there are subcategories in there, it does help me remember what I have and also cultivate gratitude. One line a day. I have 2 of these. They were gifted to me when I was a new mother. I did not have time to write. I did not make time, I should say, to write in 1 line a day journals. Probably kind of revealing about my personality, but that's okay. I also have this really teeny tiny mini version of an Art Spiegelman book. It's an Art Spiegelman and Robert Coover book. It's this little thing. My husband got it for me because I'm a huge Art Spiegelman fan, and I haven't read it yet. Oh, that goes in my unread pile. Really just a couple more to go. I have The Diary of Anne Frank, The Diary of a Young Girl by Anne Frank. I read this last year. I thought it was really good. I don't see myself rereading it anytime soon, so I'm actually going to put it in my giveaway pile. And I have Jamaica Inn, which I read this year. It was great. Great book. Daphne du Maurier is a fantastic writer. And then another book I read last year, which is A Raisin in the Sun by Lorraine Hansberry. Really good play. It's fantastic. Well, I really like that. I feel great having gone through this little collection. I like that I have a lot of books read. You know, that makes me feel really good. I'm straightening these stacks as I'm talking to y'all. I like that I have several read books in this little collection and tour. And then it's kind of interesting, the books that I'm getting rid of that I've read or that I have duplicates of, the books that I have duplicates of that I want to keep. I always find that really interesting. So yeah, the books that kind of, it's like really telling if I love the book, you know, I have multiples of it and I want to keep it. I think that's really fascinating. I am going to put these back. I'll do a before and after. Hopefully that will be helpful to you. But mostly I just hope that you are just having a wonderful day. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. Thank you for hanging out and going through this collection with me. You know, tell me your thoughts about these books, if you've read them, if you want to read them, if you're planning on reading them, or if you know, viciously don't want to read them for some reason or another. That would be great. I love hearing from y'all. And yeah, that's it for me. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for spending this time with me, and I'll see you